Hi, welcome back to There's That
On that.
with me Pada.
And Tasa.
Yay!
Kita hari ini mau
do another
TV
roundup.
There is so much TV and so little time.
Yes,
Kita hari ini bakal ngebahas 6 TV show lagi.
6 TV show. I wish you guys kalau misalnya ada yang pengen dibahas gitu, kita bisa nggak sih kayak taking request bisa
Yeah.
lah ya. Kayak just drop
At
your
us.
yeah,
At us.
just at us on Twitter, Tasilsa and Mood Bergman, and we're probably gonna take that.
Ya.
Ini juga dari beberapa, ada yang dari request kan. Kan lo dari poll kan?
Oh iya, true.
Hey, doi.
Gue hari ini bakal ngebahas 3 show yang dipilih sama teman-teman sekalian.
Teman-teman Twitterverse.
Di poll ini yang paling banyak ada American Gods, House of Cards, sama Jane the Virgin. Cuman karena Jane the Virgin gak bisa dibahas dalam 5 menit,
Yes.
jadi ntar Tada dan gue akan bikin our favorite shows from CW.
Yes.
Dan akan dibahas Jane the Virgin and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Woo!
Jadi sekarang gue akan ngeganti Jane the Virgin dengan Better Call Saul.
Okay.
So let's start with American Gods.
Okay, American Gods created by Brian
Brian
Fuller
Fuller.
yang bikin Pushing
Hannibal.
Daisies, Hannibal, dan apalagi itu aja yang kita
Iya,
tahu
itu aja sih
sih.
yang kita tahu.
Kayak maksudnya karena Brian Fuller di sini dia apa ya, kalau misalnya gue bilang tuh agak versatile sih in creating shows gitu ya. How he can go from Pushing Daisies terus ke Hannibal terus American Gods, even though tiga-tiganya semuanya fantasy, tapi tiga-tiganya punya this whole vibe yang benar-benar different gitu loh. Pushing Daisies is very upbeat at times gitu. Hannibal, you know lah, kayak very
Hannibal?
enthralling gitu.
I
nggak sih?
love Hannibal. Kayak gue sering banget ngomong di Twitter that Hannibal is one of my favorite shows of all time. Karena it's very daring. Dan cara dia nge-portray violence di Hannibal tuh menurut gue sangat oke. Karena Hannibal nge-portray tentang violence, all kinds of abuse and violence, tapi sama sekali nggak ada sexual violence. Karena
Yeah.
Brian Fullernya sendiri bilang kalau misalnya you cannot solve rape or any other sexual violence in 40 minutes gitu loh. Jadi dia mendingan
Yes.
nggak usah ngebahas, which I really appreciate gitu. Terus ya gue suka aja karena gue emang suka horror dan psychological thriller kayak Hannibal. And karakternya juga sangat well developed, ceritanya juga kelihatan kalau misalnya itu well planned. Tapi I have a problem with its portrayal of mental illness. Kalau American Gods sendiri, gue ngelihat sih kayak banyak elemen-elemen yang similar to Hannibal.
Iya.
Dia tuh bisa banget I don't wanna say glorifying, cuman dia bisa bikin violence or kayak the side of blood tuh kelihatan cantik gitu.
Kayak very artsy as you kids call it.
Iya.
Iya, kayak apa ya, art directionnya bagus kalau gue bilang sih. American Gods itu diadaptasi dari buku ya, Neil Gaiman. I don't know who the hell that is, but I don't care.
Ya udah his problematic as hell.
Iya.
Terus
Itu.
tadinya gue udah lumayan rada turn
Kayak,
off gitu awalnya,
gitu.
soalnya I don't like fantasy shows gitu kan. Terus
Tapi then
kayak
again-
beneran episode awalnya tuh lo tahu kan
Iya.
yang
Gue tuh pas pertama kali denger kayak apa ini American Gods, I thought it would be like, you know, kayak suburban kind of TV show gitu loh, kayak American Beauty. Entah kenapa gue mikir kayak American Beauty.
oh god.
Tapi tiba-tiba mereka bilang kayak apa sih?
Judulnya aja udah sangat ekstra sih.
Iya sih, tapi kayak the Hollywood Reporter waktu itu bilang kayak American Gods just add its first lead Gillian Anderson, dan gue kayak penasaran nih. Although I didn't watch like X-Files atau
She's really good in Hannibal.
gitu-gitu, tapi gue kayak I know Gillian Anderson from films gitu, kayak The House of Mirth kayaknya kalau nggak salah dia tuh mainnya, atau apa gitu gue lupa. And I knew that she's a great actress gitu loh.
Iya,
Makanya
and she delivers.
Gitu within the first gue baru nonton 3 episode American Gods sih, karena gue pengen nge-save aja gitu sampai final, baru abis itu gue bakal nonton abis gitu. Tapi from what I've seen, even though it's overtly masculine show, kayak there are times dimana gue lagi nonton American Gods terus gue mesti naikin brightness gue karena buat gue gelap banget.
Iya.
Gelapnya bukan in terms like oh it's very Christopher Nolan dark, no, it's literally visually dark, dan gue mesti kayak gitu. Although lightingnya bagus sih.
And one thing that I really like about American Gods though, I think Emily Browning is also really good because she just owns just how despicable Laura Moon is gitu loh. Like she knows kalau karakternya tuh sangat despicable,
Mm-mm.
and she delivers. Terus ada, oh, and we have to talk about that sex scene.
With the Gods of Love gitu gak sih?
Iya, yang Jean with Sally.
Iya, yang...
Iya, I don't know, I like the visuals.
Yeah, I really like the visuals, but something felt off there. I don't know, kayak something
Okay.
felt off aja for me gitu. Kayak it's very mystical and everything gitu loh. Dan and I really like what I saw gitu. Tapi but then again I like the gods. I like the gods gitu. Kayak even though they're supposed to be like the villain or whatever gitu, kayak but the gods of media really did it to me.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
I am a gay trademark.
Capital G.
Iya, capital G. Karena kayak
Terus ada adegan yang di interrogation room, lo udah nonton belum sih?
yang apa sih namanya, ada kayak semacam robot-ish gitu nggak sih? Bukan robot sih,
Iya,
tapi
iya.
kayak dua manusia. Gods of Technology bukan
Iya,
sih?
ha.
Di mobil.
No, bukan di mobil, di interrogation room. Itu semua godsnya ngumpul di situ.
Oh, belum.
Medianya jadi Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, belum.
I'm stressed. Itu kayak bagus banget. Terus ada Crispin Glover.
Oh,
Terus
iya.
kayak
Wow.
he just owns that creepiness juga gitu loh.
Oi.
Kayak emang dia very creepy looking gitu
Iya,
loh.
iya,
kayak,
iya.
oh my God.
The reason gue juga pengen nonton karena ada Kristen Chenoweth. Again, I am a gay TM.
I think Ricky Whittle juga, he is so fine by the way.
Wuh!
Jadi
Ricky
lupa
Whittle,
mau ngomong apa.
Ricky Whittle kok kayak apa ya, side note aja, Ricky Whittle tuh kalau misalnya suka
Finest
update di
man alive.
Instagram story, dia tuh suka kayak nge-gym gitu kan, kayak
Iya, fuck
terus
my
habis itu gue
life.
kayak si anjing maksudnya apa sih ini, this queer baiting whore gitu loh. Gue tuh kayak stop
Ah,
it.
terus dia kayak tiap dia ngepost di Instagram tuh gue nyalain notif.
Iya, kayak
I thirst.
wow gitu. But then again like he is apa ya, fucking fine gitu loh, kayak oh
So
my god.
fine.
Kayak
Terus kayak
ntar Google aja.
I'm really interested kayak in Laura and Shadow's relationship
Iya.
gitu loh. We know that Laura is not as invested in Shadow as he is to her gitu. Terus Laura is like kayak dia tuh depressed-nya tuh bukan yang depressed sad gitu, tapi depressed yang bored. Kayak she's
Iya
bored
iya
all the
kayak
time.
kayak 1950s housewife board gitu nggak
Iya.
sih? Kayak
Which
there's
is new to me gitu loh. Kayak kayak orang
apalagi
depressed
untuk
yang digambarinnya sebagai orang yang jadi dia bosan hidup gitu
iya
loh,
iya
lagi
iya
bosan hidup, bukan
bosan
yang
hidup,
sedih.
kayak there's nothing that excites her anymore gitu loh.
Literally nothing excites her gitu, kayak dia beneran ngelihat ke bathtubnya terus, kayak contemplating suicide all the time.
Iya.
Dan akhirnya dia kayak matinya kecelakaan, and she has to die before she realizes that she has something to live for,
Iya.
which is really sad.
Ya intinya American Gods is
You should watch it if you like Brian Fuller's work and if you like fantasy shows.
And if you like, I don't know, hunky
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
It's
this
pretty inventive sih. I don't
there's
know.
this
it's new
there's
idea.
this like very interesting concept of heaven and hell in episode 3. I really like it so much sih.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the gay sex scene. Again.
Ini kayak gue suka banget, salah satu adegan yang gue suka banget adalah yang adegan si nenek-neneknya mati itu loh.
Iya.
Oh my god, it's so delicate.
It sparks a discourse, you know, kayak it sparks questions aja gitu loh buat gue, kayak it's so good.
Yeah, me too. Dan jadi adegannya tuh cuman ditunjukin kalau misalnya kursinya dia goyang, but then kayak she continues to kayak beres-beres
Iya,
gitu,
iya.
tapi ternyata she dead. Terus dia dijemput sama
Angel of Death or something.
Angel of or God, Angel
Iya,
of
iya.
Death.
I
Terus
guess.
ternyata dia kayak ngobrol dulu, dia
Iya.
ngomong kayak, tapi this is not what I believe in. Dan it hits me gitu loh, kayak
Iya.
oh my god, what would it feel like gitu loh, kayak udah
kayak-
mati, taunya dibawa ke afterlife yang not the one that you were raised to believe in.
Kayak
That's-
kind of feeling of betrayal, tapi kayak but then again, what can you do about it gitu loh, because you're already dead gitu loh.
Yeah.
It's very harrowing gitu loh.
Yeah.
Bleak as fuck gitu.
So I like it.
So there's that on that.
Okay. Next one is One Day at a Time.
One day at a time. Ditches life. Okay, you guys got the idea. Ntar ada jingle lagi gitu. So One Day at a Time is originally a 1950 show developed by Norman Lear. Norman Lear tuh kok apa sih, kayak salah satu this renowned filmmaker dari tahun 50-an. Jadi One Day at a Time itu bercerita tentang keluarga basically. But in 2017, 16 or 17 gue lupa,
17.
Netflix remade this One Day at a Time show gitu. Tapi bedanya it's developed by this Gloria Calderon, Kellett, and Mike Royce. And apa sih namanya, backgroundnya itu diganti menjadi Latin family,
Cuban American.
Cuban American. First, it consists of fucking Rita Moreno, oke? Kalau misalnya kalian nggak tahu Rita Moreno, you guys should be ashamed gitu. Rita Moreno itu kayak this is in here, dia itu jadi kayak neneknya. Dan yang gue suka adalah backgroundnya itu di sini si Justina Machado, the lead actress itu, dia itu diceritain dia itu a veteran, an army veteran yang baru balik dari Afghanistan, and she has to get used to again in the real world gitu. Dan gue suka apa ya, portrayalnya dia tuh nggak dark gitu loh, tapi kayak at the same time it's very loving, but then again it's very hurtful gitu loh, karena kayak she explored this kind of familial love gitu loh yang gue suka dari dia.
Karakternya Justina Machado ini namanya Penelope, dan dia kerja di I don't know, some kind of clinic. Terus she has to deal with her PTSD dan harus adjusting to daily life-nya dia sebagai civilian life gitu. Terus di sini juga banyak konflik internal dan konflik eksternalnya, kayak dia juga baru pisah sama suaminya. Terus she has to deal with her PTSD, tapi ibunya tuh doesn't believe in PTSD and doesn't believe in treating mental illness with medicine gitu. Terus there's this one episode di mana Penelope dan ibunya debat soal ke gereja. And I think it's my, I don't know, not my favorite episode, cuman it's the episode that is most touching to me. Dan gue nge-compare itu sama episode religionnya Master of None. Soalnya di sini Penelope ngerasa dia nggak butuh ke gereja, dia nggak butuh berdoa. Dia tahu kalau misalnya PTSD-nya bisa diobatin, and that's it. Kayak that's enough for her, that's good enough. Sedangkan kalau misalnya ibunya, dia nge-argue kalau misalnya God created all of this, and kayak ya ke gereja tuh salah satu cara berterima kasih gitu. And then they got into a fight, dan akhirnya keluar kalau misalnya kenapa Rita Moreno pengen cucu-cucunya tetap ke gereja adalah karena dia ngerasa waktu Penelope lagi di Afghanistan, praying is the only thing that helps her. I was crying.
That is just kayak pas di situ langsung waterfall in our eyes gitu loh, because that is so touching gitu loh, dan apa ya?
Dan also true and resonant gitu loh.
And what I like about it is that apa ya? If you compare that to Master of None's religion episode, is that apa ya, even though emotional weight-nya sama, tapi kayak pembawaannya mereka tuh berbeda gitu loh. Kalau misalnya buat gue di Master of None yang religion episode, mereka ngomongin terus habis itu there's this apa sih namanya, kayak an emotional reveal and done gitu. Kalau misalnya di One Day at a Time, they really dig deep into it gitu loh. Where they really dig deep and then they try to find like apa sih, kayak secercah harapan gitu. Jadi kayak mereka tuh nggak went the instant way kayak how Master of None did it gitu loh. Karena mungkin karena Master of None, kalau misalnya Master of None itu ngebahas religion from the mundane activities. Kalau misalnya One Day at a Time tuh dari apa sih, gimana hubungan keluarga yang kuat dan agama dengan agamanya gitu loh.
Tapi gini loh, kalau misalnya di Master of None tuh dihubunginnya sama masalah cultural, sedangkan kalau misalnya di sini tuh coping mechanism. A matter of belief aja sih, kayak Justina Machado ini, she was chosen to believe in something, in someone gitu loh. Dan di sini dia bilang dia ngelihat Serena Williams dan dia merasa I find comfort in that. Dan itu buat gue kayak very touching, because sometimes that's just how we feel gitu loh. We sometimes don't believe in this omnipresent presence, but we believe in something that we can see gitu loh, yang that makes us proud, that makes us comfortable dan sebagainya gitu. Which is why kayak di situ gue benar-benar kayak yang namanya banjir air mata gitu. Dan yang gue suka dari One Day at a Time itu, mereka komedi dan dramanya mixed up really well gitu loh. In terms of lo bisa ketawa, terus habis itu tiba-tiba nangis, habis itu lo ketawa lagi, habis itu tiba-tiba nangis lagi, habis itu ketawa lagi. Berarti writingnya
bagus gitu loh, cakep gitu.
Dan mereka nentuin tone-nya juga udah mantap sih.
Mantap gitu, jadi nggak
they know where they're going gitu.
Jadi nggak naik turun dalam setiap episode.
Kayak
gitu.
lagi berantem terus ketawa juga masih bisa gitu. Dan it does not take out the emotional weight of the fight itself gitu.
Iya, and I think it helps because of the cast juga sih.
Ya.
Kayak that cast is one of the best TV families I've ever seen gitu loh. You can really feel apa ya, kayak bener-bener di solidarity in family-nya gitu.
Ya.
Dan
Terus
gue suka
ada si karakter ini Schneider.
Schneider itu kayak semacam diversity hire gitu loh, kayak
Dia
di situ dia tuh
token
kayak
white guy.
the incompetent white guy gitu loh. Gue suka banget gitu, tapi dia
Ngakak
kayak
sih.
low key fine gitu loh.
Iya.
Tapi dan gue juga suka One Day at a Time itu lies on the role of Rita Moreno. Gue tuh suka banget di situ Rita Moreno karena dia bener-bener yang namanya apa sih? Again, she can mix the role of grandma, but then again she has this kind of like sexually liberating, but then again withholding karakter gitu loh. Dan gue tuh suka banget apalagi pas dia lagi di episode apa ya gue lupa, dan mereka lagi ada ulang tahunnya bosnya si Justina Machado. Terus habis itu dia nyanyi Happy Birthday
Iya,
to
iya.
you. Dan di situ gue yang namanya ngakak gede banget, itu yang namanya gue ngakak gede banget karena kayak apa sih? I mean I've seen Rita Moreno doing comedy stuff like this but never this full gitu loh. Gitu, dan apa ya, and when she said that di situ dia adalah seorang guru nari dan sebagainya gitu-gitu, I believe her first of all karena emang dia bisa nari, dan dua, there's this charm about her gitu loh yang bikin lo tuh nggak, walaupun lo mau sebel tuh lo nggak bisa gitu. Nah yang gue suka dari One Day at a Time itu nggak ada karakter yang gue sebelin sama sekali.
Hey, me too. Kayak gue ngerti semua perspektifnya gitu.
Dan bahkan karakter ayahnya itu gue kadang sebel tapi but I understand tuh gitu loh, and also ayahnya itu low key fine dan dia pernah ada di film
high key.
dan dia pernah ada di film Bear City.
Dia ada
Kayak
di
this-
House of Cards juga sih.
But then again kayak I really understand his situation gitu loh.
Ya. Oh
But-
iya, yang kayak the whole coming out thing
Iya.
itu menurut gue lumayan ini sih.
Parah, itu apa ya, one of the best coming out scenes yang apa ya, yang bisa di elongate into 2 episodes gitu kan itu. Yang pertama how Justina Machado deal with coming out, and then yang satunya lagi gimana ayahnya deal with coming out gitu. Dan this doesn't fall into a stereotype gitu loh.
Is a straight person. Menurut gue sangat humane gitu loh reaksinya
Yes.
dia. Maksudnya kayak of course kayak akan shock. Cuman that one question yang bilang do you love her any less? No,
Yeah.
your heart is
Ooh.
good. Cuman you just need to karena beneran
Karena lo belum nyampe aja
frameworknya,
sana.
kayak framework kayak lo selama ini beroperasi dengan framework kayak anak lo straight, terus ternyata she's not, dan kayak she has those kayak fantasies yang
Iya.
bonding over boys gitu. I feel like it's very normal juga, very
Iya.
humane gitu loh.
The way of the writing itu sangat logical. It's not something that man would achieve gitu loh. Itu yang gue suka. Metafornya bagus gitu loh. Ya, lo belum nyampe aja ke sana gitu.
Ya.
Yang namanya juga ketinggalan pasti juga bakal nyampe gitu. Gue di situ bener-bener kayak gila, nangis, yang namanya nangis tuh.
Menurut gue reaksi si bapaknya juga ya
Iya, very human gitu,
ketebak
kayak
juga,
emang ketebak juga gitu loh. Because he already has this like apa ya, demonic feelings juga gitu loh, kayak dia baru balik dari army, terus dia kayak has this drinking problem atau apalah gitu.
drinking problems and PTS.
Makanya kayak ibaratnya ini situasi kayak triggernya dia gitu loh, karena kayak the time that he has to adapt to civilian life, jreng langsung ada ini gitu loh. Jadi kayak buat dia it's too much pressure gitu.
Iya.
He's gonna need another minute gitu. Dan gue suka finalnya banget sih, kayak itu yang namanya heartwarming.
Iya.
Kayak lo kayak hati lo anget tapi lo tuh kayak nangis, tapi hati lo juga berkeringat jadi kayak nangis gitu. Jadi kayak pokoknya intinya tuh kayak apa ya, nggak bittersweet juga sih, kayak bittersweet tapi more sweet, kayak sweeter gitu loh. Itu yang gue suka, itu yang kita suka.
Iya.
Okay.
So one day at a time.
Okay. The third show is
House of Cards. Gue udah bingung banget sebenarnya mau ngomong apa lagi soal House of Cards because
I'm signing off from this.
because it is in its fifth season.
Yes.
Everyone has been talking about it for like 4 years now. Dan kayak menurut gue tuh kualitasnya semakin menurun. Gue nggak tahu apakah karena ini emang kualitasnya semakin menurun atau gue semakin bosan sama male angst gitu. Jadi I think it's both. Jadi gue udah capek banget sebenarnya.
Well,
Anyway, so House of Cards is as you all know, Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright, the Underwoods, they're like this really despicable human beings yang politicians yang gak mikirin orang-orangnya sama sekali, dan cuman mikirin
Well, just like politicians.
ya kayak beneran mikirin gimana mereka nge-achieve
Very
ya kekuasaan
American.
dan kekuatan yang paling banyak gitu lah. So when the first season was released, it was in 2013, and it was a phenomenon karena itu salah satu serial TV yang Netflix rilis dan langsung
Pertama
13
kali ya?
episode. Everyone binge watch it. It's a phenomenon karena kayak itu baru-baru ketika sutradara film mulai ke TV gitu loh.
Iya. Oh iya, benar.
The first 2 episodes tuh di-direct sama David Fincher. Season 1 masih lumayan sih, if I remember it correctly, karena it's
been a long time.
Ya. Itu lumayan daring dan I feel like masih ada karakter yang likable, masih ada karakter yang jadi jendela buat kita ke House of Cards gitu loh, ke White House dan ke all these politicians gitu. Sedangkan di season 5-nya tuh kayak udah nggak ada like Mahershala Ali, nggak ada Kate Mara, nggak ada Jackie Sharp. Kayak all the charming characters are gone. Terus di sini kita kayak ditinggal sama mereka ya kayak core teamnya mereka dan they're just getting
Ruthless.
more ruthless
Iya
and
nggak sih, kayak-
despicable aja
Iya,
gitu
iya,
loh,
iya.
and I'm
That's-
tired.
That's how I see it gitu loh,
I'm
kayak
tired because it's the same plot points, it's the same schemes, it's the same goal. So I don't know,
and it's the
kayak
same
gue
tone gitu loh, kayak
Yeah.
apa ya? You can bring a genre gitu loh, maksudnya kayak thriller 5 seasons bisa gitu. But at least you gotta have some dynamics gitu loh. Karena from what I've seen, I mean I've seen House of Cards, okay? Maksudnya kayak berapa episode doang dari setiap season. And from what I've seen, well, it's a series.
it's a thing that exists.
Yeah, and it has Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright, and Netflix produced it. So,
Yeah, it's just getting tired aja gitu loh, apalagi there's nothing new aja menurut gue kayak di sini soalnya
apa ya? Udah ada other TV series that
doing
can,
it better.
Pas House of Cards tuh ada apa lagi sih? How to Get Away with Murder? I mean kayak yang tone-nya sama ya, yang thriller banget gitu ya.
Gue sekarang udah mulai nggak suka sama yang protagonisnya tuh sebenarnya antagonis gitu loh.
Iya.
Kayak
Antihero.
why are we rooting for dia udah bukan antihero lagi gitu loh. Why
Iya,
are we
iya,
rooting
iya.
for the Batman? Kayak I have a problem with that gitu loh. Sama kayak Breaking Bad, sama kayak Silicon Valley. Gue jadi ngerasanya TV show kayak gini tuh nge-glorify that kind of ruthlessness yang toxic gitu.
Iya. But sometimes for those shows juga kayak their characters are rooted in ruthlessness gitu. Tapi the way the show brought it gitu, dan the way that it's not how the characters lead the story gitu, it's how the stories lead to the character gitu loh, kayak VIP gitu.
Lo gak bisa nge-compare-nya sama VIP sih. Kayak
Iya
gimana ya,
tapi
kayak
VIP
Breaking Bad
soalnya-
sih menurut gue.
Oh, Breaking Bad sih. Iya, Breaking Bad.
Soalnya-
Breaking Bad tuh
Soalnya
emang
the thing about Breaking Bad sama Silicon Valley sih kayak menurut gue, soalnya kayak Gavin Belson tuh di portray as someone yang bisa jadi role model, dan orang-orang di Silicon Valley yang lain tuh aspire to be this Gavin Belson gitu loh. Sama kayak orang-orang probably the government bakal aspire to be Francis Underwood, which is really wrong. Kayak that's a really wrong way to look at it. Terus kayak menurut gue dynamicnya Frank and Claire tuh orang-orang bilang itu goals gitu loh, tapi menurut gue itu toxic. Like okay, kayak they
It's
have
like-
the same goal, terus mereka literally let each other do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Jadi kayak meskipun itu at the expense of their marriage, tapi kalau misalnya itu nggak ngeganggu goal mereka to be the number one person kayak in America, ya mereka nggak apa-apa gitu loh.
when I see Frank and Claire Underwood itu kayak, lo tau gak sih, lo kalau misalnya ngelihat Your Gay Friend and The Hag, yeah, that's how I see it gitu loh. Dan it's funny because it's kind of true gitu loh. Maksudnya kayak Robin Wright itu start in this like lesbian drama, nggak
Tapi kan
lesbian
lagian
drama
di
sih.
situ
Tapi kayak
di House of Cards Kevin Spacey emang
sexually fluid.
iya kayak involved with men.
Kayak I'm tired with those sexually fluid, but apa ya, kayak only sexually fluid when there's a goal gitu loh. Maksud gue
Yeah.
kayak I'm so tired.
Gue capek aja soalnya it's the same, literally kayak goal mereka tuh cuman jadi the most powerful couple in America, and there's only so many ways
Iya.
kayak for you to tell that story gitu loh. Di season 5 ini akhirnya Claire broke the fourth wall
Oh,
dan Claire bakal jadi president of the United States, sedangkan si Franknya dia kayak di impeach gitu.
oh,
I don't think impeach is the right word, but ya, dia gitu. Di finalenya tuh Franknya minta di pardon gitu sama si Claire-nya, karena Claire-nya tuh jadi VP kan.
Iya.
Terus habis itu dia nelfon kayak, kok kamu nggak pardon aku sih, kayak Kevin Spacey-nya nutup teleponnya, terus if she does not pardon me, I will kill her. Ganti lagi ke si Claire-nya, ngeliat ke kamera, my turn.
Oh.
I like it karena fokusnya akan kayak finally pindah ke Claire.
Iya.
Cuman it's going to be repetitive juga sih, I think.
Iya.
So I don't know.
Well,
Kayak, and itu salah satu TV show yang semakin gue pikir itu semakin I realize that I don't have many things to say about it.
iya.
Okay,
so,
next up, Broad City.
Yes, Broad City.
Which I don't like. Go.
Broad City. I really like Broad City because I think apa ya? Gue emang mainly suka wacky things gitu loh, kayak 30 Rock atau Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt atau kayak anything that David Sedaris write gitu. Makanya kayak chewing gum gitu. Makanya gue suka yang apa sih, bener-bener kayak ini gila apa gimana sih, but I really like it gitu loh because apa ya?
Iya, ini gila.
Iya, because it's like apa sih? It's like your apa ya? Ibaratnya ibaratnya kalau misalnya lo nonton, kalau misalnya ekstasi atau MDMA atau apalah itu bisa ditonton. Nah, buat gue tuh kayak TV series kayak gini gitu loh. Nah, Broad City itu created by Abby Jacobson and Ilana Wexler. Ilana Wexler is the character. Ilana Glazer. Jadi awal itu web series, terus habis itu diangkat ke TV series, dibantu sama Amy Poehler. Dan pertama kali gue nonton tuh kayak, ini apaan sih gitu. Terus habis itu gue nonton episode pertama nih. Episode pertama, Abby Jacobson lagi ngelihat dildo. Terus habis itu ada jadwal di mana dia mau masturbasi. Dan menurut gue itu udah kocak banget. Terus habis itu dia ditelepon sama temennya, yaitu si Ilana. Ditelepon video call lagi laptop gitu. Terus Ilana itu kayak lagi doing weird things. Yang ternyata dia lagi
Riding
video
Hannibal
call.
Buress.
Dia lagi video call while fucking a guy gitu loh, Hannibal Buress gitu, lagi di atasnya gitu. Terus gue cuma kayak, this is fucking weird, but I fucking love it gitu loh. This is ini tuh kayak exaggeration of best friends doing best friend thing gitu loh. And mungkin kayak klise gitu buat beberapa orang, tapi buat gue dan beberapa teman gue kayak ini tuh relatable banget gitu. Gue kalau misalnya di Broad City, gue itu Ilana gitu. Because sometimes I do self-destructive things, dan sometimes I am gue nggak bilang kayak I'm sexually fluid sih, tapi kayak I am sexual period.
Nice.
Dan gue suka ininya aja sih, kayak apa sih, their goal in the entire series itu basically just struggling gitu. Itu yang gue suka, karena apa ya, even though they have no main story arc, tapi itu they manage to consist every season with little mini goals gitu loh. Emily Nussbaum tuh pernah ngomong kayak dia itu dari Broad City itu 3, dia itu suka season 1, dia nggak suka season 2, terus dia suka season 3. Kayak gue nggak tahu kenapa, tapi kayak mungkin karena season 2 itu tuh emang kalau misalnya setelah gue pikir-pikir juga ya emang kind of lackluster juga sih kalau misalnya dibandingkan sama season 1 dan 3 gitu. Dan season 3 tuh sempat kontroversial juga because they have Hillary Clinton di seriesnya juga, which is kayak ya udah sih kenapa emang ya gitu loh. Kamin kayak Parks and Rec juga pernah ada Michelle Obama, John McCain, terus si siapa namanya VP-nya Obama, Joe Biden gitu loh. Maksudnya kayak
ngakak sih itu.
Kayak apa sih namanya, if you guys want to be apa sih very critical of shows gitu, kayak feminazi gitu kayak doi so tired gitu loh. Maksudnya kayak ngapain amat gitu loh. The thing that I like about Broad City structure adalah mungkin karena mereka diangkat dari web series kali ya. Jadi kayak they're used to making mini goals gitu di setiap video-videonya gitu, tapi mungkin kayak di dalam satu season tuh kayak ini mereka tentang apa sih gitu loh. Tapi yang gue suka itu strugglingnya sih, dan apa sih their wacky ways gitu. Kayak yang gue suka juga adalah dua-duanya itu tuh not really stereotypical in a kind of way gitu. Jadi kayak okay, yang Abby maybe the reserved one and Ilana the crazy one, but then apa ya, kayak sometimes their dynamics itu tuh kayak kecampur gitu loh. Kayak Ilana juga sometimes does things that Abby do, dan Abby does things that sometimes Ilana would do. Dan yang gue suka adalah mereka benar-benar kayak love each other gitu loh. It's borderline creepy gitu. Yang gue sukanya tuh itu kayak it's kayak best friend but borderline creepy, but then again kayak okay, yeah, I relate to that gitu loh. At least for me ya. Dan I cannot wait for the season 4 aja gitu.
Gue cuma nonton pilotnya Broad City dan kayak my verdict is they're too annoying. Okay, next one. My last one is Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I'm signing off from this too.
Yeah. Better Call Saul adalah spin-off-nya dari Breaking Bad tentang Saul Goodman. Di Better Call Saul, dia masih James McGill way before everything that happens in Breaking Bad happened. Terus, kapsul reviewnya Better Call Saul yang gue tulis di blog gue adalah The Anti-Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's worst trait is glamorizing its characters' bad actions and making them seem cool and exciting. Better Call Saul is about people trying to do good in a bad world, making do with what they have. Which I think itu udah nge-encapsulate show-nya sendiri sih, karena menurut gue kalau misalnya di Breaking Bad kayak beneran di-glorify banget violence and all those
Iya.
decisions, kayak bahkan ketika Skyler negur Walter aja tuh semua orang on the internet like jahat banget kayak komentar-komentarnya ke Skyler gitu, padahal she's actually the voice of reason di show itu gitu.
Iya.
Tapi orang-orang responnya kayak gitu karena mereka sangat rooting for Walter White, padahal iya makanya itu yang gue bilang kayak di House of Cards tadi gitu loh, kita malah rooting for the bad guy tapi tanpa mikirin kalau misalnya those decisions are made in real life tuh konsekuensinya seperti apa ke orang-orang sekitarnya gitu. Kalau misalnya di Better Call Saul tuh we see everyone is struggling dan in a very humane ways gitu, kayak misalnya Jimmy McGill tuh constantly di undermine sama kakaknya, dan Chuck McGill tuh selalu trying to make Jimmy fail in everything he does gitu loh, which I think is very heartbreaking, dan kita belum tahu gitu sebenarnya kenapa Chuck se-antagonis itu ke James. Terus ada Kim Wexler juga, love interestnya James McGill. I love her karena menurut gue dia karakter yang sangat jelas banget kayak tujuan dan point of view-nya dia tuh kayak she just wants to do good work. She wants to do it in legal ways gitu. Sedangkan kalau misalnya Chuck sama Jimmy sendiri tuh kotor banget sih mainnya. Oh god, and one thing that I really like about Better Call Saul juga adalah most of the scenes with Mike Ehrmantraut, they're delivered in wordless scenes gitu loh, jarang banget ada dialognya, cuman kita beneran tahu apa yang dia kerjain dan apa tujuannya, which I really appreciate karena ia sangat inline dengan karakter Mike Ehrmantrautnya sendiri gitu. Terus ada Gus Fring juga, rest in power. So the thing about prequel is the stakes are automatically lowered because lo udah tahu siapa yang akan hidup dan siapa yang akan mati. Tapi di sini cara Better Call Saul masang stakes-nya adalah dengan ngerut Jimmy ke masa-masa setelah events that happen in Breaking Bad. Dalam beberapa episode dalam 3 season terakhir itu cuma dikasih cuplikan-cuplikan kecil in black and white, dia kerja di Cinnabon, dan we see that he is still paranoid all the time, meskipun kayaknya link dia ke masa-masa Breaking Bad itu udah gak ada, but he's still very paranoid like someone is going to catch him. Flashback terakhir, not even flashback, it's flash forward tuh, dia pingsan di tengah-tengah mall. And we still don't know what's going to happen to him. Jadi that's Jin in the present. Kayak we don't know what's going to happen to him. Tapi habis itu nggak dibahas lagi. I'm worried about him karena, well, dari Breaking Bad pun dia karakter favorit gue gitu, karena he's very kayak morally ambiguous. Tapi khawatir gitu. Kayak dia di Breaking Bad tuh kasihan banget. Dan kayak di sini
lawyer kan ya?
Iya lawyer. Kayak we see him struggling kayak both in Breaking Bad dan di sini. Cuman di sini tuh lebih kayak he has a really good heart, kayak we know it, cuman dia
cuma surrounded by bad people aja.
Iya, that is what Better Call Saul is gitu loh, makanya gue lebih lebih reseptif ke Better Call Saul karena orang-orangnya tuh lebih besar hatinya gitu loh. Kalau Breaking Bad tuh toxic semua. Oh my god, kayak everyone is in Breaking Bad is so annoying. Dan gue tuh kayak maksa nonton Breaking Bad tuh karena everyone says it's the best show on TV. Karena emang karena emang gak banyak pilihan at that time.
Well, ugly Betty stays high.
Terus so I think Better Call Saul is far superior than Breaking Bad karena menurut gue nge-explore interiority karakternya juga lebih bagus gitu. Atau mungkin karena gue nonton ini lebih baru jadi berasanya kayak gitu. Dan bahkan karakter yang paling despicable aja kayak Chuck McGill tuh gue masih bisa sympathize sama dia gitu loh. I think the actor just owns it aja. Kayak dia bagus banget ngedelivernya, apalagi that scene in the courtroom yang dia beneran unhinged gitu, terus kameranya ngezoom pelan-pelan, and at one point he just realized kalau oh this is how people sees him gitu loh, as this unchained man yang udah nggak bisa lagi nge-practice law. That is a really good scene, dan menurut gue juga Better Call Saul tuh tiap episode tuh bisa bikin momentum yang wow gitu. Yang wow, bisa bikin momentum yang bisa bikin momentum yang bisa diingat sampai kita apa ya beneran mancing ke episode selanjutnya gitu loh. So yeah. Kayak even though lo nggak nonton Breaking Bad, I think you should give Better Call Saul a chance. And I think it's huge coming from me, soalnya gue males banget nonton film yang protagonisnya white male. Tapi I like Bob Odenkirk dan I like Better Call Saul. So
yeah.
That's
it. Woo! Thank you for listening and stay tuned for our next episode. Apa itu? I don't know. Maybe you guys wanna tell us. Maybe we can talk about some things that you want to be talked about or something.
See you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.